Hello everybody and welcome to today's edition of Mr. J's Geek Corner. So we talk about anything and everything that is geek, whether it be TV, comics, movies, or video games. And today's topic kind of touches on about all three actually. And I don't usually talk. I haven't usually talked about this particular character. I probably talked about it in cartoons that need to. Cartoons that kind of outstayed their welcome, but I still like it a bit. Scooby-Doo, and I'm sure everybody out there, and whatever generation you're born in has been exposed to Scooby-Doo in one way, shape, or form, whether it be from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, or today, or the early 2000s. Some way, shape, or form, you've run into Scooby-Doo somehow in some show or another. And as y'all know, Scooby-Doo is also one of those characters that has basically opened up to guest stars and team ups and everything. And a few of those. I'm gonna say a lot of them are very interesting, very spot on, but also a lot of them are very, very lame. And I'm just gonna read over some right quick before I get into the main topic. They've teamed up with the likes of the Three Stooges, Batman and Robin, the Addams Family, Jonathan Winters, Don Knotts, Phyllis Diller, Sandy Duncan. She's an actress for those who don't know that name. I ain't even heard of her myself. Sonny and Cher, Laurel and Hardy, which is about like Three Stooges, the Harlem Globetrotters, Davy Jones of the Monkees. Y'all may have also seen him guest on SpongeBob as the Davy Jones. Jerry Reed, who was in Smokey and the Bandit. Let me see. Along with Josie and the Pussycats, Jeannie from I Dream of Jeannie, Tim Conway from the Carol Burnett Show, Don Adams, don't know who he is. Give me just a second. I might look him up right here in just a second. The one who played Maxwell Smart in Get Smart, and was also, and those of y'all in my generation know him as Inspector Gadget, and even to a little bit older Tennessee Tuxedo from the Rocky and Bullwinkle series. So yeah, that's who that is. They're basically a guy from Get Smart and Inspector Gadget. Speed Buggy, which is a show I never heard of. The cast of Speed Buggy. Cass Elliot from the Mamas and the Papas. Dick Van Dyke, and that's it. That's the ones. Those are from the episodes of the new Scooby-Doo movies. But he is, over the years, has opened himself to even more guest stars, like in the even in the DC universe now. He has actually opened himself up to even more guest stars in a book called in his own comic Scooby-Doo Team Up, in which he's teamed up with the likes of Wonder Woman and even Superman himself. He's teamed up with like Superman, Batman and Robin again, Wonder Woman. He's even had to team up with Harley and I. They've even had to team up. Scooby Gang's even had to team up with Harley and Ivy on a mystery. I mean, they've done so many. I mean, that is probably one of the best team up things involving Scooby-Doo I've ever heard about. I even want to read it. But also in the last couple, at least 2 or 3 years, they've done some straight to DVD movies that I'm gonna say are they've included guest stars that I think is very lame. I mean, and even in What's New, they teamed up with the band who did their theme. They've had guest stars like flash in the pan pop stars like Lindsay Pagano. I know that's from like several years ago. Somebody trying in the same vein as other certain pop stars I'm not going to mention on the show. And the Simple Plan, who was actually the ones who did their theme song for the show. And as I said, the DVD movies got even worse. I mean, they've teamed up. They've teamed up with the superstars of the WWE. It's kind of escaping my mind right now, but give me just a second. I'll look it up. Let's see. But as I said, they've teamed up with the likes of like WWE, which had included John Cena. Of course, they did that with the Flintstones, but that's beside the point. A second. Let's see. And they've come up with so many other ones, but I'm thinking of the ones where they teamed up. Oh yeah, they've teamed up with the WWE, and I think they've teamed up with some other with at least some other ones too. So they have like a lot of, but the one that sticks out in my mind is the latest one that has come out. Scooby-Doo and Kiss. That's right, Scooby-Doo, the Scooby Gang are teaming up with Kiss for a mystery. And I'm like, that is one of the lamest. I mean, they've had lamer than that, I guess you could say. But it's just been, like I said, but this is one, I mean, this is, it's just like when Kiss teamed up with World Championship Wrestling, but I won't get into that. But, as I said, it got me to thinking one night, I'm thinking, who in the, Kiss, of all Kiss, and it got me to thinking about certain crossovers that should never have, what ones, Scooby crossovers, that should never happen, and I wrote down a list of the top 6 Scooby-Doo crossovers that should never, could never, would never, and should never happen, and for various reasons. And number 6 to start off with is Scooby-Doo meets Deadpool. You never don't even need to go any further than that. It's Deadpool, for crying out loud. You're gonna have everything from Deadpool being completely nearby shooting Scooby, to killing the villain, to him making driving Fred insanely jealous because he's over there constantly trying to hit on Daphne, because you know Daphne's his girlfriend. Daphne either trying to get together with him trying to flirt with Daphne and Velma. Trying to get Shaggy to do, well, you know, trying to get Shaggy, constantly trying to make references to Shaggy that, well, you know what I'm talking about. Trying to just basically just being an obnoxious and a wild card like he always is, and constantly breaking the fourth wall and everything like that. As interesting as it would be, that could never happen because of the R-rated nature of Deadpool. I mean, that could never ever happen. Also, the fact that they're owned by different companies, but of course, obvious. But it's obvious that's just two universes. As interesting as it would be to mash them up, it could just never happen. It really could never happen because of the nature of Deadpool's character. It just never could happen, and it would not be a clean fit at all. And number 5 is Scooby-Doo meets Lobo. And I don't mean the lame Twilight-esque New 52 Didioverse version either. I mean the original pre-52 rough biker, I guess you could say fragger, that is Lobo. I mean the Lobo we all know and love. Basically, this one. That could never ever happen, especially if he's got his dog. As interesting, as funny as that would be, it would be about the same situation you would have with Deadpool, only not so much with the volume turned wide up. I mean, it would just be him causing havoc wherever he went. I mean, it just could. I mean, you just couldn't deal with him. And also the fact that he would nearby, again, you had the situation where he would nearby become sick of Scooby and try to shoot him, or just him and confrontation between Scooby-Doo and, well, let's see, what's it say the name of Lobo's dog is? I don't think it has it don't have the name of the dog on the back of this card here particularly, but still, seeing him and Scooby and Lobo's bulldog probably have a scrap, that would probably be fun. But and the whole thing would be fun anyway. But like I said, it just could never happen just because the nature of the character. I mean, it would just be too dark and too violent, probably, no doubt. But that's why that also could never happen and should never happen, really. I mean, in terms of DC marketing, I mean, they could team them up because they are both DC characters, but it just would not, as good as idea as it sounds, it's probably also not a very good idea because you get so many complaints. So definitely a no-go, probably. And number 4 is as kind of a lame one in the same vein as like teaming up with like Simple Plan and Harlem Globetrotters and Kiss. It's Scooby-Doo meets the Rolling Stones. You just couldn't do it. You just could not do it. It would just be, I'm gonna say, it would be as lame as having them team up with Kiss. It would be the exact same thing, except with even older rockers. I mean, as many jokes has been made about Rolling Stones being a bit age jokes have been made against the Rolling Stones. Still, it would not be a good idea to do this because it's just, to me, it just sounds so lame. And that's why I put it on this list, because it would just be so lame. And again, it'd be almost a retread of Scooby-Doo meets Kiss, and Scooby-Doo, and one where Scooby-Doo was with meets up with Simple Plan and all them ones. It'd be in the same vein as all those other celebrity crossovers they ever did on the new Scooby-Doo movies. It would be the same thing, and it just would be just horrible. And that's why that should never ever happen, in my opinion. And number 3 is another one of the ones from the Dark Zone. Scooby-Doo meets Hack Slash. And what I mean more or less, Scooby-Doo meets Cassie Hack from Hack Slash and her gang. I'm gonna say that's definitely as interesting as that. I mean, that's a little bit more compatible because you've got a gang there. You got because you got a group of people that solve mysteries. Group of people that solve mysteries, and you got a group of people. You got like maybe a couple of folks, a big Frankenstein-looking monster, and a dog, and a monstrous-looking dog with no skin that go around killing monsters. That could almost work, but the fact is, it probably end up being so bloody and violent. Again, the same reason as Lobo and Deadpool. It just could not happen. And I say there's a lot of adult situations that happened in that book too. It could not happen. It really could not happen in the Scooby-Doo universe. I mean, also the fact they're in different companies too. It really couldn't happen though. Again, it would be very interesting. It would be more of a well-fit glove, like a well-fitting glove. It'd be more of a good fit for both of those groups to get together as a team. It still couldn't happen because it would end up being a bloodbath. It would end up being a bloodbath filled with vulgarity. Again, that's why that could never happen. And it's also the same reason, probably about the same reason for number 2 on our list couldn't happen. Scooby-Doo meets Archer. And I'm sure there's, and just for the folks that don't know, Archer is a show on animated show on FX about spies, and it's basically like if It's basically like if James Bond was a complete and other and being a complete and total heartless ignoramus, he was also a first class jerk. I mean, you could not. You really, being Archer, he would find somehow he would mess up something, and he'd get them arrested somehow. He'd get them arrested. So he would bungle it big time. I mean, and they would have to try to get them out of trouble and all that kind of stuff. Like I said, the stuff that happens on that show is definitely not be suitable for that kind of thing. And also bloodbath, but mainly adult situations. Because I said there's stuff that happens on that show that is not suitable for a younger audience. Definitely not. I know there's probably, and I ain't gonna jump to any conclusions, but I imagine there's probably Archer meets Scooby Gang fan fiction out there. But just like with a lot of this, there's probably fan fiction out there of this where they meet and go on adventures together. But like I said, this really could not happen as a real crossover. I mean, it just could not. It just couldn't. And I'm gonna say back to number 4 for a second. You know they would run out of ideas if they ever teamed them up with Rolling Stones. Just saying, my opinion. But I said back number 2. It just, like I said, that really could not happen with that kind of character like Archer. It really could not. It just couldn't. And number 1 on my list is one that that's what really started the whole list. Actually, it really just started the whole list. Other than number 5 and 6, this is what really started on the list. Kind of comparison to teaming up with Kiss is Scooby-Doo meets famous YouTubers. And what I mean is like folks like, I've got at least 4 here, but it could go like either like for instance, Scooby-Doo meets PewDiePie. Lane. It's like when PewDiePie guest starring on South Park that time this past season. That happened, and it sounds incredibly lame, actually. But PewDiePie, as I said, it's in the same vein of all them other celebrities that have guest starred on Scooby-Doo. What's the use? What's the reason? I mean, I could see. I mean, like Scooby-Doo meets the guys from Good Mythical Morning, Rhett and Link, or Scooby-Doo meets Matthew Santoro. I couldn't say. I mean, that sounds like one of the old Scooby-Doo movies, one of the old new episodes of the new Scooby-Doo movies. It sounds just like it, but it sounds incredibly lame. And like I said, just because of how probably womp it would be. I mean, there's some folks out there would probably watch it and everything, but I guarantee you, it probably ain't gonna be that good. I mean, it probably ain't gonna be that good. And I said, no offense to like Rhett and Link or Matthew Santoro. Your shows are awesome. I'm a huge fan of them both. I'm a huge fan of all 3 of you, but like I said, I don't mean any offense by it, but like I said, a Scooby-Doo crossover is like, it's just like, no. I couldn't see that. And one's like, for instance, like you really couldn't have, and for different reasons, you could not have one like Scooby-Doo meets Jenna Marbles. You just couldn't have that. Because again, back to the same reasons as like Archer or Lobo or Deadpool, vulgarity, not violence, but mainly vulgarity. Because if anybody out there has seen Jenna Marbles, I don't need to say any more than that. And same thing with like if you crossed over Scooby-Doo meets Neurotically Yours, which is basically Foamy the Squirrel. You really couldn't do that. Again, with the vulgarity. And possibly bloodbath. Because you'd have a psychotic little squirrel trying to kill the main talking dog. You have a psychotic talking squirrel being on world domination trying to kill a dog. Trying to kill a talking dog that ain't really as smart as a squirrel is. I mean, as a foul-mouthed squirrel, and it wouldn't mix. I mean, like I said, I would see more Rhett and Link meet Scooby-Doo than like any of the others I mentioned. I could almost see that. But as I said, it can't happen because the only one main reason why you would not see them cross over with you, if I'm gonna say, if they ever did anything with them crossing over with YouTubers, it would mean one thing: they ran out of ideas. Because I mean, no offense intended to any of the YouTubers out there. I'm a fan of all of y'all, but as I said, that would be. I'm taking that as a dig, as a swap at the folks who make Scooby-Doo here. That would be a sign that they've run out of ideas whenever they go, if they ever crossed over with YouTubers. And I like YouTube. I mean, shoot, I wouldn't mind doing a few crossovers myself with ones like. I wouldn't mind teaming up with Rhett and Link or Matthew Santoro, because, like I said, it's a completely different genre. But it would be in the same vein as them teaming up with like Jerry Reed or Phyllis Diller or the Addams Family. It just would not fit at all. It would not fit. It just wouldn't make for a very exciting episode. I'm not, like I said, no offense intended, but just would not make for an exciting episode in my opinion. It really would not. I said, as interesting as it would be to see Rhett and Link team up with them, maybe, but still, same vein as what I've been talking about. It would not make for very interesting for a very interesting made for DVD movie. But I do have one. I said it is, as much as I say that these shouldn't happen, I did think of at least one that should happen. At least one, and that is, and I know it could nearby be in the same vein. You could say the same reasons for why it shouldn't happen is reasons like Deadpool or Lobo or anything. But the thing about this ain't necessarily. I mean, it's kind of like one of the other ones on this list. But the thing is, it's more wide audience appeal, and that would be if you had Scooby-Doo and the Scooby Gang meet Buffy the Vampire Slayer and their Scooby Gang. The Scooby Gang, as they call themselves. You had Scooby meet Buffy. The Scooby Gang meet Buffy Vampire Slayer and her Scooby Gang. That would be almost a natural fit. That would be very interesting. I mean, and that I could actually see that happening, because unlike with Hack Slash is even more adult. It's like more of an adult version of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. A more adult, mature version of it. But I said, in terms of Buffy Vampire Slayer, there's violence in that too. But it ain't like blood spattering, vulgarity slapping everywhere. It ain't like that. It's more. Has a more wide audience appeal for younger and older viewers. So I can almost see more of that happening. And personally, I would not mind seeing it happen. I mean, who would not want to see Buffy Summers standing shoulder to shoulder with standing side by side with the Scooby Gang, like Buffy and Xander and Willow and Giles standing side by side with Fred and Daphne and Velma and Shaggy and Scooby. Who would not want to see that? That would be incredible. And I could see a multi-part comic, or at least one single comic, one shot done like that. I can honestly see that. But as for everything, and like I said, DC, Dark Horse, make it happen, please. But as for all these other ones I'm saying, like Scooby meets Deadpool or Lobo, Rolling Stones, Hack Slash, Archer, or famous YouTubers, I could not see that happening. Interesting as it would be, like I said, as interesting as it would be with certain YouTubers, I really could not do that, because again, that would be a sign that they are desperate for ideas. If they're actually, I mean, I have all due respect for the ones who have gotten famous via YouTube. I envy you guys, but like I said, the only way the mainstream media would give them any attention is if they were out of ideas. I mean, like I said, I would see it as the same, as for the same reason as why PewDiePie was on South Park, because I mean, they may like him, of course, but It would be the same as, like I said, PewDiePie on Scooby-Doo would not work. And neither would any other YouTuber for that matter. It would not work. It just would not work. I'm sorry to say. It would not work. If they ever did it, I would know officially that the producers of Scooby-Doo cartoons have run out of ideas if they're teaming up with people from YouTube. I'm sorry to say. But like I said, I don't mean any respect. I don't mean any disrespect at all. I have nothing but respect for y'all, for all YouTubers out there. Of course, I'm one myself. But as I said, that's the only way the mainstream media would give any attention, is if they ran out of ideas themselves. But personally, like I said, no disrespect intended, you guys. I envy y'all. I envy you greatly, because I wish I was on your level. I really do. But what do y'all think? Am I wrong? Would y'all want to see these crossovers, or would y'all not want to see these crossovers whatsoever? Or do you have one of your own that should or should not happen? Let me know. And as always, drop your comment in the comment box. I would love to hear what y'all have to say about this. And I guess, also, what would you think? What would you think if famous YouTubers did cross over into like mainstream pop culture stuff like Scooby-Doo or DC Comics? What would you think? Honestly, what would you think if that were to if they were to start doing crossovers like that? Let me know. I want to hear this. Drop a comment in the comment box. I would love to hear what y'all have to say on this subject. And I guess that's all for this week's edition of Mr. J's Geek Corner. And as always, if y'all have a comment whatsoever about the show, drop me a comment in the comment box. Love to hear what y'all have to say. Like, subscribe, share with all your friends, tell all your friends. If there's anything you would like to hear me discuss or analyze, talk about whatsoever on this show, or there y'all any ideas of something you want to hear me discuss, drop me a comment in the comment box. I'm always looking for fresh new topics and subjects to discuss and talk about on here. So definitely drop your idea in the comment box. I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear your ideas, and you never know when maybe made it to the episode of Mr. J's Geek Corner. So definitely drop your ideas in the comment box. I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear your ideas. And I'll see y'all next time.